My brothers and sisters, we all go through moments where life feels heavy. You may be facing financial challenges, family issues, health problems, or emotional battles that no one else even knows about. Sometimes you cry silently at night because you don't want anyone to see your pain. But remember, life was never meant to be free of struggle. Allah Himself told us, "We will surely test you with something of fear, hunger, loss of wealth, lives and fruits, but give glad tidings to the patient." The hardship you are in right now will not last forever. It is temporary. Just like the darkest night eventually gives way to the bright morning, your difficulties will eventually open doors to ease. Allah promises us, indeed, with hardship comes ease. Not after hardship, with it. That means even in your struggle, there is a hidden blessing. But here is something many of us neglect: the night prayer. Tonight, when the world is asleep and you feel the weight of your struggles, get up, wash yourself, spread your prayer mat and speak to Allah. Cry to Him, complain to Him, ask Him to remove the burden. That is the most powerful form of relief. The night is a secret gift. In those moments of silence, your dua carries a different weight. The angels witness it, and Allah Himself descends to the lowest heaven in the last part of the night, asking, "Who is calling upon me that I may answer him? Who is asking of me that I may give him? Who is seeking forgiveness that I may forgive him?" Struggling in life, try it tonight. Pour your heart out. Ask Allah for strength, for patience, for contentment, and for solutions. Thank Him for the blessings you still have, because gratitude unlocks even more blessings. And remember, your patience is not wasted. Every tear you shed, every hardship you endure is raising your status and wiping away sins. So don't give up, keep moving. Work hard during the day, trust Allah with the results, and at night hand over your struggles to Him, because the one who created your problems is the only one who can truly solve them. Tonight might just be the night your life changes through a sincere prayer in the last third of the night. Don't miss it. Life is not meant to be free of difficulty, and one of the greatest truths we must accept as believers is that struggle is a part of our very existence. From the moment we are born until the day we leave this world, there will always be challenges in different forms. Some people imagine that if they believe in Allah, everything will suddenly become easy and smooth. But in reality, Allah tells us clearly in the Quran, do the people think that they will be left to say, "We believe," and they will not be tested? So 29:2. This verse reminds us that trials are part of the package of life. They are not signs that Allah is displeased with us. In fact, they may be signs that He loves us enough to purify us, correct us, or elevate us through those very struggles. When you look around, you will realize that no one is free from hardship. The wealthy man might appear to have everything, but his heart may be restless and his family broken. The poor man may struggle with provision, yet his home is filled with love. The healthy person might battle loneliness, while the sick person finds closeness to Allah through their pain. Every single soul has a unique set of struggles because life was designed as a test. If we understand this, we stop comparing ourselves to others and instead we focus on how to pass our own test. Many of us make the mistake of assuming that struggle means we are failures or that we are abandoned. In reality, some of the most beloved people to Allah went through the hardest struggles. Look at the prophets. Prophet Nuh, BC, spent centuries calling his people and most of them rejected him. Prophet Ibrahim, she was thrown into a fire by his own community. Prophet Yusuf, she was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a well, sold as a slave, and later imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. And yet Allah loved them deeply and raised them in rank through those trials. Even our beloved Prophet Muhammad, the most beloved to Allah, lost both of his parents at a young age, buried his own children with his hands, faced hunger, mockery and battles, and was forced to leave his homeland. If struggles were a sign of Allah's anger, the prophets would have been spared. Instead, their lives show us that struggles are part of the path to closeness with Allah. Sometimes we look at our lives and wonder, why me? Why am I going through this? The better question to ask is, what does Allah want me to learn from this? Every trial carries a lesson. A financial struggle might be teaching you to be humble, to rely on Allah rather than wealth. A family dispute might be teaching you patience, forgiveness, and the value of peace. Illness might be teaching you gratitude for the blessings you once overlooked and reminding you of the fragility of life. If we shift our mindset from complaint to reflection, every hardship becomes a tool for growth. Struggle also protects us from arrogance. Imagine if life was perfect, no sickness, no financial worries, no emotional pain. Many people would forget Allah completely. But hardship softens the heart, brings us to our knees, and reminds us of our desperate need for our Creator. When life pushes us down, the best place to fall is in prostration, because from there the only way is up. Allah loves the servant who calls upon Him sincerely, and sometimes the only way we will cry to Him wholeheartedly is when we feel helpless. That helplessness is not a curse, it is a doorway to connection with the Most Powerful. Another wisdom in struggle is that it equalizes human beings. No matter your status, wealth, or background, hardship will visit you. A millionaire can be diagnosed with a terminal illness, while a poor person can lose their only source of income overnight. Life tests us in different ways so that we realize this world is temporary. If everything here was perfect, we would never long for paradise. But when you experience heartbreak, betrayal, poverty, sickness, or loss, it reminds you that this life is not the destination. It is only a journey, and the real home is the one where Allah promises no sadness, no pain, no death, and no disappointment. We must also remember that struggles are not uniform. What is difficult for one person may be easy for another, and what breaks one heart may strengthen another. That is why Allah is the most just. He never burdens a soul with more than it can handle. Your trials are specifically tailored to you, because Allah knows your strengths, your weaknesses, and your potential. So when you are in the middle of hardship, remind yourself, Allah knows I can handle this. He would not have given me this trial unless He also gave me the ability to bear it. This shift in thinking transforms the way we face difficulties. Instead of despairing, we begin to see every struggle as proof of Allah's trust in us. Struggle also polishes the soul. Just as gold is purified in fire, the believer's heart is polished through hardship. Every difficulty removes sins, even something as small as a thorn that pricks your finger. Imagine then what greater trials erase from your record. Each tear you shed, each sleepless night you endure, each pang of sadness you carry, all of it is counted by Allah. None of it is wasted. On the day of judgment, you may see mountains of reward simply because of the patience you showed during a difficult moment in this world. So when you acknowledge that life is built upon struggle, you stop expecting perfection from it. You stop saying, I'll be happy when everything is smooth. And you start saying, I'll find peace even in the storm because I know who controls the storm. This is the mindset of a believer. This is how we live with hope in our hearts even when the world around us seems heavy. Struggle is not the end of your story. It is part of your journey toward Allah, and in every hardship, there is hidden mercy waiting to be uncovered. When a person is in the middle of hardship, it often feels as if it will never end. The weight of grief, loss, stress, or pain can make every day feel longer than the last. People in difficulty sometimes look at their situation and imagine that they are trapped, that there is no way forward, and that life will always remain in this state of darkness. But the reality is different. Allah has promised us in the Quran that no hardship is permanent. He says, for indeed, with hardship comes ease. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Ayah 9, 4, 5, 6. This is not just a comforting verse. It is a guarantee from the Creator of the heavens and the earth. Every trial carries within it a seed of relief. It may not appear immediately, but it is there, waiting for the moment Allah has decreed. Think about how the world itself functions. The night never lasts forever. No matter how long or dark it seems, dawn eventually breaks. Winter, with its cold and barrenness, is followed by spring with life and growth. Storms rage fiercely, but they always settle, leaving behind fresh air and sometimes even rainbows. This is the natural law that Allah placed in the universe. Hardship is always paired with ease. In fact, the Arabic of the Quran uses a subtle but profound lesson. When Allah says, with hardship comes ease, the word for hardship appears in the definite form, while the word for ease is indefinite. Scholars of Tafsir explain that this means one hardship will never overpower two eases. In other words, every difficulty is always outweighed by the ease that accompanies it. If a person can hold on to this promise, they will find hope even in their darkest moments. Imagine someone who has lost their job and feels the crushing pressure of providing for their family. At first, they may panic and fall into despair. But if they reflect on the words of Allah, they will realize that this test is not the end. It might actually be the opening to something greater, a new opportunity, a new skill, or a new path they never imagined. Many people can look back at moments they once thought were the worst of their lives and see how those very struggles pushed them into growth, into success, or into a deeper connection with their Lord. This temporary nature of hardship is also what makes life bearable. Imagine if problems never ended, if sorrow never lifted, or if pain never healed. We would not survive. But Allah in His mercy did not create the world that way. Even grief softens with time. Even wounds eventually scar over. Even the heaviest sadness becomes lighter day by day. This is why the Prophet Muhammad taught us to be patient, because patience is not just about sitting through pain. It is about believing that better days are ahead. One of the tricks of Shaitan is to whisper that your suffering is permanent, that there is no point in hoping or trying, and that Allah has abandoned you. But Allah tells us the opposite. He assures us that after every dark tunnel, there is light. The believer must train their heart to recognize that relief may be closer than they think. Perhaps tomorrow a door will open, a solution will appear, or a blessing will arrive unexpectedly. Allah can change your entire life in a single moment, and He has the power to replace years of hardship with ease in ways you never imagined. Sometimes the ease is not in the form we expect. When you are struggling, you may think the only solution is for the problem to disappear completely. But Allah might grant ease by strengthening your heart, giving you the patience to endure, or surrounding you with supportive people who help you through. That in itself is relief, even if the situation has not yet changed. Ease does not always mean removal of the problem. It can also mean the ability to bear it with dignity and faith. That strength is a gift from Allah that many overlook. Consider also that hardship itself can prepare you for blessings. A person who has tasted hunger values food more deeply than someone who has never been hungry. A person who has lived through poverty appreciates wealth more than someone who inherited it easily. A person who has been sick cherishes health more than one who has always been strong. The temporary nature of hardship gives you a lens through which to appreciate the moments of ease. Without difficulty, we would not recognize the sweetness of relief. We can also take comfort in knowing that every hardship is timed. Allah already knows when it will begin and when it will end. You may not see the end now, but it is written. Just as the Prophet told us, no soul will leave this world until it has received everything Allah decreed for it, provision, experiences, joys and sorrows. If something is written for you, it will reach you. And if something is not meant for you, no matter how hard you try, it will never be yours. Understanding this allows us to breathe and to trust that today's pain is only a chapter, not the whole story. Even in the hereafter, the believer who suffered in this world will be amazed at how small their pain was compared to the eternal reward. One hadith mentions that a person who suffered the most in this world will be dipped once into paradise and asked, "Did you ever experience any hardship?" And they will reply, "Be Allah, I never experienced any hardship." That single taste of eternal ease erases the memory of all suffering. This is how temporary our struggles truly are compared to what awaits. So when hardship surrounds you, remember the promise of Allah. Your trial has an expiry date. Your sorrow has an end. The very one who placed you in this situation has already prepared your way out. You may not see it today. You may not see it tomorrow, but relief is on its way. The believer holds on to this truth. And that is what keeps the heart steady in the storm. There is something very special about the night. When the noise of the world fades away, when people switch off their lights and their voices are no longer heard, when distractions are reduced to silence, that is the time a believer has the most powerful opportunity to connect with Allah. The night carries a secret beauty that is not found during the day. In those quiet hours, when the majority of people are asleep, a small group rise from their beds, perform ablution, and stand before their Lord. These moments are so beloved to Allah that He mentions them in the Quran with praise. He describes the servants of the Most Merciful as those who spend part of the night in prostration and standing before Him. He tells us about those who forsake their beds to call upon Him with fear and hope, and He promises them rewards that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no heart has ever imagined. The night is a gift to those who are struggling. When the heart is heavy and sleep refuses to come, that sleeplessness is not a punishment. It is an invitation from Allah. He is calling you to rise, to pour out your heart, and to unburden yourself before Him. The night prayer, known as tahajjud, is unlike any other prayer because it requires sacrifice. During the day, everyone is awake and it is natural to join them in prayer. But at night, when your body longs for rest and comfort, you choose Allah over your bed. That choice alone makes the night prayer carry a weight and sweetness that other acts of worship cannot match. It is a moment of sincerity when no one sees you, no one claps for you, no one praises you. It is only you and your Creator. The Prophet Muhammad loved the night prayer so deeply that his feet would swell from standing long hours. When he was asked why he exerted himself so much even though his past and future sins were forgiven, he replied, "Shall I not be a grateful servant?" This shows us that the night is not only for the one who has sinned or the one who is desperate for a solution. It is also for the one who wants to express gratitude, to feel close to Allah, and to taste the sweetness of worship. For the person who is struggling, the night prayer is like medicine for the soul. When the world feels heavy, you can cry in sujood, knowing that Allah is listening. Sometimes you cannot explain your pain to people. They may not understand, or they may judge you, or they may betray your trust. But with Allah, you do not need perfect words. Even your silence, your tears, your sighs are heard and recorded. In the quiet of the night, you are free to speak to Allah in whatever language your heart chooses. Ask Him for relief, for patience, for forgiveness, for strength, or simply sit in His presence and allow your soul to find peace. What makes this time even more powerful is the divine promise attached to it. The Prophet told us that in the last third of the night, Allah Himself descends to the lowest heaven and calls out, "Who is calling upon me that I may answer him? Who is asking of me that I may give him? Who is seeking forgiveness that I may forgive him?" Imagine the King of all kings, the Lord of the worlds, asking you directly what you need. How can a believer ignore such a moment? This is why scholars and righteous people throughout history guarded their night prayers with care, knowing that their strength in the day came from their connection in the night. When a person makes it a habit to stand in prayer during the night, even if it is for a few minutes, their heart begins to transform, their worries feel lighter, their perspective shifts, and their faith deepens. The struggles of life do not vanish, but the burden becomes easier to carry. This is because they have handed over their affairs to Allah during those precious hours. They begin to see the signs of His help in their daily lives in ways they never noticed before. Sometimes the solution to a problem arrives quickly, and sometimes it does not. But the believer who spends their nights calling upon Allah never feels abandoned, because the closeness itself is a form of ease. The Quran mentions that the people of paradise will remember their nights of prayer. Allah praises them as those who used to sleep only little of the night, and in the hours before dawn, they sought forgiveness. That alone should motivate us to realize how valuable those moments are. Imagine standing on the day of judgment and being told that the tears you shed at night when no one else knew became the reason Allah forgave you and raised you to a high station in paradise. Struggles in life often make people restless at night. They toss and turn, unable to find peace. But if they channel that wakefulness into prayer, they transform their sleeplessness into a blessing. Instead of lying in bed with a heavy heart, they rise, make wudu, and let the cool water wash away some of their worries. They face the Qibla, raise their hands, and trust that the one who hears everything will respond. Even 2 units of prayer, even a simple dua whispered in the darkness, can change the direction of a person's life. The night connection with Allah is not about long hours of worship or complicated recitations. It is about sincerity. Some people may only manage a short prayer, while others may recite lengthy portions of the Quran. Both are precious if the heart is present. The key is consistency, choosing Allah over sleep regularly, even if it is just for a brief time. That regularity builds a bond that strengthens you for the trials of the day. So when life feels overwhelming, remember that the night is waiting for you. It is not empty time. It is filled with opportunities for forgiveness, guidance, comfort, and relief. The one who rises in the night is not only struggling with their problems, they are transforming their struggles into a pathway of closeness to Allah. That closeness is the true ease that follows every hardship. Dua is one of the most powerful gifts that Allah has granted His servants, yet many people underestimate its weight. To call upon Allah is not simply to recite words. It is to acknowledge your own weakness and His absolute power. It is to admit that you cannot control everything and that you are in need of the one who does. Dua is a believer's weapon, a means of comfort, and a door to relief. When a person raises their hands and whispers even the simplest request, it is recorded in the heavens, and Allah, who hears even the sound of a heart breaking in silence, responds in ways far beyond human imagination. Life is filled with struggles, and often people search for solutions in every direction except the right one. They run to others for advice. They place their hope entirely in wealth, status, or effort, and when disappointment strikes, they feel crushed. Dua, however, reminds us that the ultimate source of help is Allah. It does not mean that we abandon effort or that we stop seeking worldly means, but it means that our trust is anchored in Allah alone, while everything else is simply a tool. The believer works hard, but they also pray hard, knowing that success only comes when Allah wills it. When you make dua, you are speaking directly to the one who knows you better than you know yourself. You may stumble over words, or you may not even know what exactly to ask for, but Allah already knows the secrets of your heart. Sometimes you ask for a specific thing, and Allah gives you something entirely different. Because He knows that what you wanted would harm you, while what He gave will benefit you in ways you cannot yet see. This is why believers never lose hope when their dua is not answered immediately in the way they expected. They trust that Allah's delay is not denial, and His alternative is not rejection but mercy. The Prophet Muhammad taught that dua is itself an act of worship. It is not only about getting what you want, it is about showing your dependence on Allah. Every time you raise your hands, you are proving that you believe He listens. Even before the answer arrives, the act of dua is already a blessing because it connects you to your Creator. Imagine a servant who is constantly remembered by his Lord simply because he chose to call upon Him in times of need. That remembrance alone is an honor greater than the temporary gifts of this world. Dua also brings peace to the heart in a way that nothing else can. Many people carry heavy burdens and cannot find relief even after speaking to friends or family. But when they pour out their hearts to Allah in the stillness of the night or during moments of desperation, they feel lighter. This is because the heart knows it has been heard by the one who has power over all things. Even if the external situation does not change immediately, the inner calm that dua brings is itself a form of ease. That inner strength allows the believer to continue to endure and to see their struggles with new eyes. There are countless examples of people whose lives were transformed through dua. Prophets themselves relied on it in their darkest hours. Prophet Yunus Indi Chio TPF, swallowed by the whale in the depths of the ocean, called out, "There is no God but you, glory be to you, indeed I was of the wrongdoers." His dua was answered and Allah rescued him from a place where no human could imagine escape. Prophet Zakaria Yumizio VC prayed in his old age for a child, even though the world would have considered it impossible, and Allah granted him Yahya. These stories are not just tales of the past. They are proofs that no situation is too hopeless for Allah's mercy. If He answered them, He can answer you. Sometimes the answer to a dua comes quickly, and sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it arrives in the form we hoped for, and sometimes it comes in a disguise, only to reveal later that it was better for us. And sometimes Allah saves the answer entirely for the hereafter, where the reward will make us wish that none of our prayers had been answered in this world, because the eternal gifts of paradise are far greater. Whatever the case, no dua is ever wasted. It either brings immediate relief, prevents a harm that was about to befall us, or is stored as reward. That certainty should keep a believer making dua constantly without despair or doubt. Dua also strengthens the bond between the servant and the Lord. When you consistently call upon Allah, you build a habit of turning to Him first before anyone else. This reliance purifies the heart from arrogance because it reminds you that you are in need no matter how capable you seem. At the same time, it fills you with hope because you know that the one you rely on is never weak, never forgetful, and never limited. He is the all-hearing, the all-seeing, the most merciful. That combination of humility and hope is what nourishes faith. For the one who is struggling, dua should be their closest companion. Every tear shed in sujood, every whispered plea in the middle of the night, every quiet request made in the heart is a rope that ties them firmly to Allah. Even if the world seems against you, dua is proof that you are never alone. The more you make it, the more you realize that your true strength does not come from what you possess, but from who you have by your side. And when Allah is with you, nothing can overpower you. When life becomes difficult, one of the easiest things to forget is gratitude. The human mind tends to magnify what is missing and overlook what is present. A person struggling financially might only see unpaid bills, forgetting the gift of health, the ability to walk, or the presence of loved ones. Someone who is sick may only see their pain, overlooking the countless blessings that still surround them, like faith, family, or even the ability to breathe. Gratitude in times of ease is already a noble act, but gratitude in times of hardship is a sign of true faith and trust in Allah. It is a recognition that even in difficulty, Allah continues to shower us with countless favors that far outweigh the trial. Allah reminds us in the Quran, if you are grateful, I will surely increase you, but if you deny, indeed, my punishment is severe. Gratitude is not just about saying, thank you. With the tongue, it is a state of the heart and a way of life. When a person sincerely thanks Allah for what they have, even while enduring hardship, Allah promises to increase them. That increase may come in the form of material blessings, spiritual strength, or inner peace. Gratitude opens doors that complaining can never open. Complaints make the heart heavy, but gratitude makes it light, even in the face of pain. One of the most remarkable aspects of gratitude is that it allows us to see blessings we would otherwise ignore. Consider the person lying in a hospital bed. Their body may be weak, but they still have the ability to remember Allah, and that remembrance is a blessing greater than health. Or consider someone facing poverty. They may not have wealth, but they may have sincere dua that rises to Allah with a purity that the wealthy person, distracted by abundance, may never experience. Gratitude shifts the focus from what has been taken to what remains, and what remains is always more than we realize. The Prophet Muhammad lived a life filled with trials. He buried his children, faced hunger, was mocked, and fought battles. Yet, he was the most grateful of all servants. He would spend long nights in prayer until his feet swelled, and when asked why he exerted himself so much despite being promised forgiveness, he said, "Shall I not be a grateful servant?" This shows us that gratitude is not tied to circumstances, but to perspective. The heart that recognizes Allah's favors will always find reasons to thank Him, no matter how heavy the trial may seem. Gratitude during hardship also brings contentment. When you focus only on what you lack, you become restless and bitter. But when you focus on what you have, even if it seems small, your heart feels at ease. A man with little food who says, Alhamdulillah, eats with joy, while a man with a feast who complains eats with bitterness. Gratitude transforms not the situation itself, but the way you experience it. That transformation is what allows believers to remain calm in storms that break others. It is also important to remember that gratitude is not only expressed by words, but also through actions. A person who is grateful for wealth will use it to help others. A person who is grateful for health will use their strength to serve. A person who is grateful for knowledge will share it. Gratitude is lived, not just spoken. During